Hey, there we go. Good grief. I had a hard time in here. Hey, I hope everybody's doing well. Sorry about the delay there. I don't know what it was. I was having a hard time getting things going. I was trying. I'm running almost 5 minutes behind. I've been trying for 5 minutes, but oh well. We'll get right into it. Let me get the disclaimers out of the way. This is a weekly live broadcast, generally Thursday evening, 7 o'clock Central. This is where I'm at. Not every Thursday. Sometimes things get in the way and I can't make it. But most Thursday evening, 7 o'clock Central, this is where I'm at. I don't have a topic planned. This is just an opportunity to ask me pretty much anything you want to ask me. I do my best to interact with everybody that comes in during the live chat, in the chat itself. And so this is a good place. I haven't been very good at answering comments lately. This is a good place to get your questions answered. If you've left a question for me, I haven't answered it. And I apologize for that. I need to get better at answering the comments, responding to them. I will do my best to do that sometime soon, hopefully. There we're getting there. Anyway, the only thing I ask, like I said, be polite, be family friendly. Don't be hateful. Don't be cussing at us. There's all kinds of people that watch this channel and all kinds of people that join in. We don't want to have to kick you out because you're rude with somebody or anything like that. You can disagree. We can have civil discussions about it. No reason to be hateful or rude or anything like that. So anyway, let's get into it. Emergency Prep Guy says, I just recently purchased two standard Rex does. They're quite a bit smaller than my silver fox buck. Do you know what their mature weights should be roughly? Standard Rex, they should be somewhere around 9 to 10 pounds, I believe. I don't have personal experience with standard Rex. Let me see. I believe that they come in about 10 pounds, though. 7 to 9 pounds, a little smaller than. I was close. A little smaller than the 10 pounds. 7 to 9, so somewhere right around in there. So give them a little bit of time. Maybe they'll get up there, hopefully. McLeod Family Farm is here. Says, hey, Chris, how's your week been? My doe said that I said was due. My doe that I said was due a fills back. Never had any kits. Okay, I think it was maybe a week back or whatever. Never had any kits, so I went to a rabbit show that was in town and got myself a breeding trio of show quality New Zealand's. Awesome. I am jealous. It says, I'm super excited about it. Have you got yourself some new rabbits yet? No, I have not. I've been looking. Haven't been able to find any close by yet. After the holidays, I'll probably do a little bit more serious searching. But yeah, I'm jealous. I wish I could find some good show quality New Zealand rabbits. Bottleborn Urban Farm says, hey, Chris, good evening to all. Good to see you. Darn autocorrect, McLeod Family Farm, huh? Yep, I get it. Yep, 8 to 10.5 pounds for a standard Rex. Thank you, McLeod Family Farm. Appreciate you answering that. Hello to you, Holly. Verna, good evening. Good to see you. It says, blessings this holiday season, Chris. Thank you. Yeah, God bless all of you guys during the holiday season as well. I know that not all of you celebrate Christmas, but for those of you that do, Merry Christmas to you. And I hope that it goes well. Hope you can spend some time with family. Where we at here? Hello to you, Grafted Branch Homestead. Who's that? Psycho Ward from Las Vegas. Good to see you. Laura Shell Farm. I know I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but oddly warm Connecticut there. Yeah, it's been oddly warm here too. We set a record yesterday. It was 76 degrees. Set a record that was broke a record that was set in 1984. Bernie Young says 5 days until winter solstice. Yeah, and then the days start getting a little bit longer. Where are we at here? Yeah, Laura Shell wants to know if Verna's going to be getting rabbits. She says no. And then somebody's witch doctor says it's their 30th anniversary. Well, happy anniversary, 30 years. That's something to brag about. Congratulations. Sorry, I'm skipping over a couple of comments where you guys are talking to each other. It doesn't bother me. Just don't be offended if I don't jump in. I'll let you guys carry on those conversations. You're fine with that. Good evening to you, Sage Wolf. Hello to you, Emergency Prep Guy. Grafted Branch says, hey, Chris, question. How do you go about feeding and watering throughout the day for the outside birds when the water is below freezing and super strong winds? How long can they go if they run into storms? Hang on, I was just scrolling down to make sure everybody could hear me okay and make sure I didn't have any comments about people saying they couldn't hear me or anything like that. Okay, so how do I go about feeding and watering throughout the day and the outside birds when the weather is below freezing and super strong winds? How long can they go if they run out in storms? Well, they can go a little while. I wouldn't stress about it too much. What I typically do is I go out, in the morning. I give them water. Their feeder is really big enough; they can go a couple of days before they run out of food. So as long as I've fed them the day before, and if it's not below freezing, but it's kind of nasty out, sometimes I'll skip a day because I know they got water, I know they got food, they're going to be fine. But during the wintertime when it's below freezing and I know the water's freezing, I make a point to make it out. I don't care what the weather's like. I'll get out there and I'll make sure that they have some fresh water. But I'll do that once in the morning, once in the afternoon, evening, and that's all they need as far as water goes. Keep them fed all the time, but they can go without water for pretty long time. And when you give them fresh water when it's freezing, they're going to flock to it, drink as much as they can right then before it freezes, and then they'll be good until that afternoon, that evening, or whatever, and they'll be fine with that. Hopefully that kind of answers the question for you. Verna is saying hello to somebody. Who that? Grafter Branch. Good evening, everyone. Hello to you, Jennifer Myers. And she says, to Grafted, congratulations on 100 followers. Awesome. Well, congratulations on that indeed. You're way too excited. No, that's something to be excited about. Good evening to you, Jesse Mills. Yep, slightly behind tonight. Sorry about that, guys. I ran into some technical issues trying to get started. Marty says, good evening, everyone from West Virginia. Good to see you, Marty. Jay Moore says, my quail are in the garage and won't leave the cage area since others drop food. Wait, my quail are in the garage and won't leave the cage area since others drop food, though need to get them to water ASAP. What? I'm sorry. I'm not sure what you're telling me. My quail are in the garage and won't leave the cage area since others drop food. Okay? Though need to get them to water ASAP. I'm sorry, Jay Moore. I'm a little confused there. I'm not really sure what I had to read that a couple of times, and I'm still not really sure what you're saying exactly. They're in the garage. They won't leave the cage. Is there water somewhere else? I don't know. I'm kind of confused on that one. I'm sorry. Probably my fault. 12 gauge says, hey, Chris and all from Arkansas. Hope everyone's doing well. I have eggs in the incubator, adding to my current flock of 65 quail, selling lots of fertile eggs right now. Awesome. That is fantastic. Congratulations on getting some sales there. Good luck on your hatch. I hope it goes well. Sneak a drink in there real quick. Where we at here? Ed got bait. Good reminder here. He says, everyone, hello to everyone. I hope everyone stayed safe during those storms yesterday. I know Whiskey Tango Farms is okay. Yeah, I don't know. The storms, there were storms that moved through here, but they weren't that severe. They were pretty mild. I know up a little bit further north, Nebraska line, somewhere right around in there, they had tornado warnings and things that went on. But everybody, as far as I know, is okay up there. But definitely prayers for those in Kentucky that were hit by the storms last week. Kentucky and Illinois, I believe, were the two that got hit. Areas of those, anyway, that got hit there. I hope everybody that is from that area is doing okay. I know firsthand what tornadoes can be like, so definitely been praying for you guys. Good. All right, Robert. Hello, Chris. How did your area fare during the storm last week? I've been thinking about you. Yeah, we're fine. We didn't really have any storms. We had some pretty high winds yesterday. See what that notification was. Nothing that urgent. Pretty strong winds yesterday. Some rain that moved through last night, but it was just pretty much heavy rain. It wasn't really anything big. It looks like I did maybe lose a shingle off the house. There's a shingle laying in my driveway. I think it's mine, so I've got to figure out where that was missing from and get that replaced. But that's it. Everything else is fine. I had a client in town yesterday, day before and yesterday, and had to go to Springfield for dinner last night with the client. We have offices in Springfield and Joplin, and they're about an hour, a little over an hour apart. So we went to Springfield for dinner because they had visited our Joplin office where I'm from. And I had to drive home last night. It was after dinner, so it was about 8 o'clock-ish. And it was a little bit sketchy driving home. It was pretty high winds, and it was one of those where you want to pass this semi because they're going kind of slow, but you got to wait till the wind takes a break, so they quit doing this. And then once they do, you just zip past them real quick so you can, get out of their way. But we made it. It was all good. Yeah, Grafted Branch, I did see your question come up in the comments, and I really intended on going in and answering it because I get the emails. All the comments get emailed to me, and a lot of times I see those. I'm like, oh, I need to get in and answer that comment. Somebody asked about, and while I'm thinking about it, I don't know if they'll watch the live broadcast, if they're even in here. Don't remember who it was, but somebody did ask about where I get my quail food for $15 a bag, and that's at MFA Agri Services in Neosho, Missouri, which is about 20 miles roughly south of here. That's the best deal I found on quail food. So if you're in the Southwest Missouri area, that's the place to get your quail food. But yeah, I saw your comment come through, meant to get in there, and I just never did. I'm sorry. I got to get better at that. I used to be really good at it, and I got lazy, I guess. I don't know. I got out of the habit. I need to get better at it. Anyway, Jasmine Bass is here. Good to see you. Tuning in from Southwest Missouri. Crane, if I remember right. Chris Winger says, my rabbit just pulled out some fur. Now what? Get ready for bait. If you don't have the nest box in there, you need to make sure you have the nest box in there, because I'm assuming when you said my rabbit pulled out some fur, you're talking they're pulling fur because they're getting ready to have their babies, and it's probably happening. So, get a nest box in there. Keep a really close eye on her through the rest of the night until you go to bed. Make sure when she starts having her babies, she has them in the nest box. And that's really it. That's all you got to do. If she has them on the cage floor, pick them up, put them in the nest box as soon as you can. Cover them up with that fur that she pulled, and they'll do fine. Ed says, hey, Chris, hope all is well. It is well, thank you. We got a couple. Let me get down here. Gary Miller says, hello from North Carolina, Chris, and to the rest of the Quail family and friends. Hello to you, too. Lorraine, hello, Chris. We had our first litter of baby bunnies, 3 weeks old now. Breeder said to make sure. Oh, no, I scrolled and lost it. There it is. Breeder said to make sure to give them alfalfa, but I read that alfalfa is not good for adult rabbits. It's not okay, but they're 3 weeks old. He said make sure to give them alfalfa. I'm sorry, I got distracted by another comment. You don't want to overfeed them with alfalfa, that's for sure. But rabbit pellets are primarily alfalfa. They're fine. If you give them now, they've got other things in them too, so it's a balanced diet if you're feeding rabbit pellets, and that's really all you need to do. You don't need to give them any kind of extra supplements or any of that kind of stuff. If you just have pellets available for the mother rabbit, keep her feeder full. The babies will start eating on their own when they're ready. You don't have to do anything else. You don't have to worry about buying any special, rabbit hay or alfalfa hay or any of that kind of stuff to give to them. It's not important. You don't need to worry about it. They'll feed off the mother will keep them fed, and then they'll start eating the mother's food when they're ready too, long before they're weaned. It's not they're going to just stop taking mother's milk and start eating food. They'll start nibbling on her food several weeks before they're weaned. Probably about now. You said they're about 3 weeks old. They're probably going to start doing that now in the next week at least. But yeah, you don't have to do anything special. You don't have to buy them extra alfalfa, and you don't have to worry about alfalfa being bad for them or anything like that. It's not necessarily, too much alfalfa can be bad. It's got pretty high calcium levels. But the rabbit pellets, if you're buying a commercial pellet to feed, they're balanced. They're going to be fine, and you don't have to worry about it. Jay Moore says, never heard of a rabbit show before, just cat, dog, horse, and even fish. I've never heard of a fish show. But yeah, rabbit shows aren't that uncommon at all. They're more common. We don't have, I don't know that I've ever seen a rabbit show right around our area right here. But what we do get sometimes is like 4-H shows and state fairs, those things. And there's quite often a rabbit, section of those events, or just animal auctions in general. Chris says, no, I haven't. Didn't know she was pregnant and can't find one. Tried a box, but she didn't like it. Oh, no. Do you have, okay, so we're talking about your rabbit that just started pulling fur. It's a pretty serious thing. She's getting ready to have her babies probably, unless it's a false pregnancy. So what you want to do is take whatever kind of box you can find at this point is going to be fine. Stuff it with some straw, some hay, whatever you have on hand. You could even use like cotton batting out of like you would stuff pillows and those kinds of things with. I would use that as a last resort, but if you have to, you could use that. stuff a bunch of hay or straw in there. Put it in her nest box for her. She may not want to use, or put it in her cage with her. She may not want to use that. You should watch her pretty close though, because like I said, when she starts having her babies, if she's had them on the cage floor, pick them up, put them in there. Just make a, like right in the center of it, make a little hole with your fist, put the babies in there, take a bunch of fur, pile it over the top of them. She'll get in there and take care of them. You shouldn't have to worry about it. But you need to get that done, because if she has them on the cage floor and they stay there for very long, they're going to die from exposure. They just can't stay warm on the cage floor. So I would, if you have to, I mean, I hate to say, don't watch the live broadcast, but if you have to, take a break every 15 minutes, every 10 minutes or whatever, go out and check and see if she's had her babies or not, and get them in, get them in something, as soon as you can. Let's see who we at here. Jay Moore said 60 degrees today. Yeah, it was pretty warm today too. Well, actually it cooled off quite a bit, but it was like 55 or something. That's pretty close to normal actually this time of year. Nelly says, love your videos. Very informative. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Rednecked Poultry. Howdy from North Carolina. Got babies hatching. That's fantastic. Hopefully you get a great hatch. There, Shell says 30 years. Congratulations. I told my wife I'm trading her in at 15, counting down the years, LOL. Yeah, that's probably something you probably shouldn't say to your wife. Grafted Branch Homestead says, awesome. Thank you for that. Let's see. I've been doing 2 times a day, but didn't know if I needed more. Oh, yeah, you're absolutely welcome. I'm sorry. It took me a minute to realize what you were talking about. But, yeah, it's you're absolutely welcome. 2 times a day is plenty. Spaced out. It's fine. You don't have to worry about any more than that. Whiskey Tango Farms is here. Good to see you guys. Thanks for joining. Cali Quail Keeper says the quail community is here as usual. Hey, y'all. Hope everyone is enjoying the holiday season. So far, it's been busy. It's kind of surprising to me that, Christmas is next weekend. It's just sneaking up on us. Where are we at here? Marlon says, hey, from North Carolina, I have 11 hens. Should I put 2 males or 3 males? Good question. 2 should be plenty, but if you want to, you can put 3. I definitely would not go more than 3. If it was me personally, 11 hens, I'd probably put 2 roosters in there and call it good. But if you got, it's not a bad idea to have a 3rd one, just to have an extra one in case something happens to one of them. But yeah, that should be fine. Jay Moore says was replying to another. Oh, the comment that I couldn't figure out earlier was a response to somebody else. That makes sense. That makes me feel better. Verna says, Chris, what are you hoping for Christmas? What am I hoping? You mean like what do I want for Christmas? I don't really have any big hopes. I put together an Amazon wish list for my family and friends and things, like in case they want to get something for me, but I don't necessarily need anything. I don't expect a whole lot for Christmas. I, have a lot of just little photography things on there. Just some flash modifiers and, simple things like that are pretty cheap, but I don't really have any big expectations. I just hope for family to be over here. I hope for us all to get along, which we do usually, and never have really family issues. I hope that everybody stays healthy and has a great new year. Whiskey Tango Farms says we're good here. Lost siding in a couple of places on the house, ripped the rabbit hutch tarp, and tractor tent shelters zipper ripped. Otherwise, we're good. Thank goodness. Thank you, everyone. I didn't realize that there were bad storms up in Wisconsin. Says Chris Winger says I live in Wisconsin, got tornadoes just south of me, but the winds and fog was horrible. Wow, I didn't realize that. Didn't notice it. I didn't see it on the news or anything like that. I'm glad to hear you guys are all doing fine. I'm sorry I didn't take that more seriously, I guess, when somebody was talking about storms earlier. Katrina says, hey to everyone from Gilroy, California. Got stuck in the grocery store. I'm out now. We'll listen while I drive home. Thank you for tuning in. Let's see. Whiskey Tango Farm says, glad you're safe, Chris. The fog was scary. I would rather drive in a blizzard than do that again. We didn't have any fog. Didn't have any issues with that. But I've seen every time I see like really thick fog, I always think of that Stephen King story for The Mist. I don't know if anybody knows that. It was a short story in a collection, like Skeleton Crew, I think was the book, which was a collection of short stories by him. And that was one of them. They actually made a movie, The Mist, I think. Anyway, let's see where we at here. Katrina says, we caught the bunny that was dumped in the yard last week. Doesn't belong to anyone in the neighborhood, so I will rehome it. Well, you caught it. That's good. I remember talking about that. Hello to you, Misty from Georgia. Good to see you. Grafted Branch says, I'm going to start rabbits, but waiting until spring. How many rabbits do you generally keep on hand? I usually only keep two to four breeders, usually just two. That's really about all I need. And there's no reason to wait till spring. If you can find breeder rabbits, now's the time to breed rabbits. Rabbits do much better in the cold of winter than they do in the heat of summer. So if you, you're looking to get into them, now's the time. If you wait till spring, there's a good chance that you're going to have to wait till next fall, next winter to start breeding. But if you want to do that, that's fine too. I'm just telling you, don't think that, you're waiting until spring because you want to wait till it's nice and warm to get the rabbits. I don't breed my rabbits during the summer. It's just, it gets too hot. They really do struggle in the heat of summer. So it's really better in the cooler, the fall, the winter time is when I breed primarily. Chris Winger says, what about a cardboard box? I don't have a nest box yet. Yeah, cardboard box, that's fine. The worst that's going to happen is she might chew on the cardboard box a little bit. If you have some cage wire, you can go back and see my video on how to build a nest box out of cage wire. Give me a second here. I'll see if I can find that real quick and leave you give you a link to it. It's a really old video, but let's see. Oh, that's not what I wanted. What is going on here? Why is this not? Let's see. Is that it? What time? What's the best? Give me a second here. Sorry. This is taking me a minute. There it is. There it is. Let's see if I can get to that. There's the video link. And as I said, this is a really old video. This is a long time ago. So, don't judge me for the poor video skills. Not that I'm that much better now. But anyway, there's a link there if you need it. You can see how to build one out of cage wire. I typically line those with cardboard anyway, so a cardboard box is plenty fine for you to use. Good evening to you. What the Quail Farm? Good to see you. Let's see. Jay Moore says, I think many are concerned about supply and looking for alternate ways of feeding their rabbits. Well, they very well may be. I get that. I get the concern with supply. I think that, rabbit food and those kinds of things are going to be one of the last things to be affected by any kind of supply issues, because most of that stuff usually comes, well, I guess it depends on where you live. But most of that stuff here anyway is pretty local. And we live, I don't know, maybe I'm sheltered from a lot of that because I live in a fairly rural area. So there's a pretty big demand for animal feed around here, and I don't think we'll have any issues getting it anytime soon, but you never know. But even if you had to, you could just pasture your rabbits. They'll eat. It's just not the best feed for them in a sense. If you're feeding your rabbits like on pasture, you could build like tractors for them and tractor them around. Is what I'm saying. I'm a little jumbled up here. Sorry, my train of thought's not on the right track apparently. You could feed your rabbits that way. You could put them in a rabbit tractor them around your yard and that kind of stuff. And they'll do okay. They'll do fine. You're going to get a lot slower grow out rates from your babies. You may run into some problems with like parasites and things like that from time to time, but they'll be fine. You can do it that way. So that I don't know that that's a real concern. Now, quail, on the other hand, they'd be a little bit trickier. You'd probably need some, I guess you could try to tractor them around and see if they'd feed themselves, but I don't know that they would be able to. I don't have an answer for that one. Hello to you, Orlando. Good to see you. Laura Shell Farm says, Chris, do you provide 24/7? Do you provide hay 24/7 along with pelleted feed? I used to provide hay to my rabbits. I don't really do it anymore. Hay's not bad for them. It's actually good for them. And at one time, I really felt like they absolutely needed the hay, but they really don't have to have it. So I do provide them with hay from time to time. Fairly regularly, but not an everyday basis. If you do want to give them hay full time, you can do it. Yeah, 24/7. Keep their hay feeders full. They're not going to overeat on hay. You can do that. It's not going to be a problem whatsoever. But you don't absolutely have to feed them hay either. So it's kind of up to you how you want to do All right. Katrina says Tortellini had 8 bunnies. 2 were dead. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Meatball had 11 babies. 4 were dead. Found 2 inside the nest box, 1 outside, and 2 back legs. Ooh, I'm sorry about that. They're good mamas to the live ones so far. Well, that's good to hear. Those are 11 especially. That's a pretty big litter. So it's not uncommon to lose a couple from a big litter like that. Sounds like they're right on track. So sounds like everything's going pretty well. Grafted Branch Homestead is from New Mexico. That's a nice place I'd like to visit someday. Katrina says, what age should I expect them to start coming out of the nest box? I know it should be a while. Yeah, probably about 10 days, something like that. Usually that's about the time that mine start coming out of the nest box. What I typically do is if I go out and find them out of the nest box, the first, about 3-4 days, I pick them up and put them back in the nest box. And usually after about 3-4 days, they can get in and out on their own and it's no problem whatsoever. And you just don't have to worry about it anymore. But for the first 2 or 3-4 days, something like that, that I start, I come out to feed or something and I see a baby bunny out of the nest box, I always pick it up and put it back in. And then that'll start increasing. You'll find them more and more common outside of the nest box over the next 2-3 days. And then they'll be able to get in and out on their own and you don't have to worry about helping them out anymore. Lorraine says, noticed blood in the rabbit cage with a 3-week-old rabbit and mom looks like it's in the urine. But not sure if it's the mom or one of the babies. What could this be? Oh, that's a good question. Are you sure it's blood? It's pretty common for rabbits to have like red urine, which is usually not blood in the urine. Usually that's going to be a food pigment. So it's going to be something that they ate. Even if they're just eating pellets, there are several things in there, the pigmentations of the food that can color their urine red. It's a pretty common thing. It's not uncommon at all. And a lot of people do think, oh no, that my rabbits, got blood in their urine, but it's usually not. It's usually just food pigmentation. There we go. If it is blood for sure, I kind of doubt it's in the urine. That would kind of indicate maybe like a urinary tract infection or something like that, which you're probably going to have to get like antibiotics and things to fix. But that's pretty rare. It's probably not. If you just saw blood in the cage, you're wondering where it came from. There's a good chance that the rabbit just nicked themselves on a piece of cage wire, whatever, and maybe caught a nail in something and tore the nail and they bled. And as long as they're not still bleeding, there's nothing to worry about. You're going to be fine. So I just keep an eye on them, make sure it's not like a reoccurring issue, and see if it's like, if you can confirm for sure that it is blood in their urine, then you probably need to get some antibiotics. But I doubt that that's an issue. I wouldn't worry about it too much. All right, Augustine says, hey, bro, I love the rabbit videos. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Maybe a little while before I do any rabbit videos. I'll see what I can come up with. But, right now my rabbits are kind of aged out. So there's no breeding going on. I'm looking to get rid of them and looking to get some new replacement rabbits. So, as I do, I'll definitely pick up the rabbit videos again. But until then, I may not have a whole lot of rabbit content. But stick with me. Hopefully we'll get them done. What the Quail Farm says, question, what is more cost-effective, quail or rabbits? Oh, boy, that's a good question. Probably, I don't know, honestly. Honestly, I don't know. I'd have to think that out. Rabbits are incredibly efficient at feed conversion if you get good quality stock. But, then quail aren't bad at that either. And if you have, like, good waste-free feeders, that's really not bad. I think that rabbits are probably more cost effective. I don't know why I exactly feel that way. I've never done the math on it exactly, but it just seems like, one rabbit is plenty for several servings, whereas it takes, 2 quail per person usually is what we consider when we're looking at having quail for dinner. But one rabbit will do, like if we cook a rabbit, depending on how we cook it with everything else, usually we're getting, dinner for my wife and I, plus lunch the next day, and there's still leftovers for another meal for both of us. So that's just one rabbit, whereas that would be, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 quail. So I do kind of feel like maybe they're a little bit more cost effective. But then again, rabbits don't always breed like rabbits. So sometimes that can be a little tricky. And, you can always just, you could set 100 eggs or 10 eggs with quail. So it's a little bit easier to control your numbers when it comes to quail. Like if you just want to do a big meat run and bump your numbers up really quick, you can do it, and you can do it really easily and really quickly. Whereas rabbits, you can't guarantee that they're going to breed. You can't guarantee that she's going to have a big litter. You can't guarantee that and it takes 30 days before the litter is born. I mean, it is a little bit of a slower process with rabbits, but there's some give and take. I don't know if one's really that much better than the other. I know I probably didn't answer your question necessarily, but maybe gave you some things to think about. So I think the answer really is going to be cost effective or not. They're both pretty close to each other. I don't know that one's significantly better than the other. But which one do you like better? As far as eating, do you like rabbit meat or do you like quail meat better? Quail meat's a little bit of a darker meat. Rabbit meat's a pretty white meat, very lean. Both are very lean. But rabbit is, you really need to add, chicken stock, something like that to it to give it some flavor, because on its own, it's a little bit, it's like chicken breast. There's just not a ton of flavor in rabbit meat. It tends to take on whatever flavor you cook with it. All right. Jay Moore says, could be infection like cats or other things in the blood. Hard to know. Yeah, it's hard to know, but if it's just a one-time thing, again, I wouldn't worry about it too much. I found we got pretty cold one night, down below freezing recently, and on top of the quail feeder, looked like there was some blood on the top of the quail feeder. And I'm sure what happened is probably one of the birds got their foot wet in the water or something like that, and then got on there and maybe some skin froze, and they pulled it off and probably pulled off a little piece of skin, bled on the top of the feeder. I couldn't figure out which bird it was. None of them looked like they had an obvious wound. Everybody looked fine. I haven't seen any more blood since then, so it's not an issue. It's probably just a injury or something like that. I wouldn't worry about it too much. Cali Quail Keeper says, Chris, ever heard of the German or continental giant, 12 to 30 pounds? I don't know a lot about them, but I've heard of, but I couldn't speak really well about them, or I couldn't speak to them very well because I don't know a lot about them. The things I would worry about is just my experience with Flemish giants, and Flemish giants are not good meat rabbits. The babies grow out really, really slow. Their bone to meat ratio is not that good. So you don't, even though you get a bigger rabbit, you don't really get more meat out of that rabbit. And it costs a whole lot more to feed it up to size, because they eat a lot more than the other rabbits do. So I don't like the Flemish giants, and maybe that I kind of, because of that, and that's from personal experience with dealing with rabbits that are mixed with Flemish giant. Because of that, I kind of have a bad taste for giant rabbits, but I don't know. They may be different, so I can't really say. David says, good evening from McAllister. I know where McAllister is. Says, my family and I are just getting started on quail, and I'm preparing the end of my tool shed for next year. Should I wait for spring, or will they be okay inside in the winter? If you get adult birds, they're going to do just fine. You don't have to worry about waiting for spring or anything like that. But at the same time, if you want, if you're just looking at like hatching eggs or something like that, it may be better to wait till spring. It's a little bit easier in the spring and the summer to deal with baby birds, that are growing up, as opposed to doing that in the winter. So it's really your choice, however you want to do it. But if you're getting adult birds, or birds really that are over about 5 to 6 weeks old, they're going to do just fine. I keep mine outside, and our climates are very, very similar. So you wouldn't have any problems with it. Tandex Products says, I have 15, I think that's product anyway. Tandex Prod, I don't know. Says, I have 15 roosters and 10 hens. How many roosters should I keep? For 10 hens, you only need 2 roosters, really. That's plenty. So yeah, you definitely don't want 15 roosters in with those 10 hens when they get into breeding, because they will definitely tear up your hens. They'll pull all the feathers out of the back of their head. They'll scalp them. You really need to get rid of some of those roosters once they get up to maturity. All right, G. Michael says, question for a person new to raising quail, how many quails would you recommend? Boy, that's a good question. Hang on, I'm sorry, I got distracted. I don't know that there is a definite answer to that. That's kind of going to be, you're going to have to think about it from your own own standpoint, like where you're at. What I would suggest is, if you're just starting out, get your cages in place and all that kind of stuff. That's going to kind of dictate how many quail you can keep. Figure about 1 square foot per bird for adult birds. So those would be like your breeders. So however big your cage is, that's about how many quail you can get. But you also need to have cages for your grow outs if you're not going to be using the same cage space. The other thing, just think about how many times a week do you want to eat quail? How many eggs do you need? You can kind of figure about 5 eggs per 5 quail eggs is 1 chicken egg. Actually, probably about 4, but I usually figure 4 to 5, somewhere right around in there is 1 chicken egg. And if you want to eat, multiple eggs a day, multiple chicken eggs a day, then you're going to need, a dozen or so eggs a day coming out of your birds. So that's about 12 hens. And then, you only need about 2 roosters for 12 hens, maybe 3 just to be on the safe side. So those are, I don't know if that gives you something you can kind of think about. What I would suggest is start a little bit small because you can always ramp up pretty quickly. Get the hang of it, learn what it takes. It's not really that complex. It's not really that hard, but make sure it's something you want to do. I myself have a tendency to get into something, hobbies or whatever, get really excited about it. And then after a month or 2 like that, I kind of get bored with it and want to move on. So if this is going to be, if you're that same kind of person, this may be something that would follow that suit. And it's much easier if you have a very small cage, you don't have a whole ton of money invested in, just a few birds, kind of getting the hang of it. And then if you decide it's not something you want to do on the long term, it's easy to downsize very, very quickly and you haven't lost much on it. But on the other hand, if you decide you want to ramp up and you want to build your production up quite a bit, then you haven't lost anything there either, because you can build up pretty easily and pretty quickly from there. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. I don't know that I can tell you though how many you need to start with. It's kind of up to you and how many birds you want. How many eggs do you plan on getting out of them? I don't know what your goals are and what your plans are with that. So I can't answer that for you, unfortunately. All right. Verna says, you can start a wish list on Amazon. I don't know if you're talking to somebody else, but yeah, Amazon wish list, I think, is one of the best things ever. My family and friends, my family, the ones of us that buy Christmas presents for each other and things like that, we always have an Amazon wish list we share with everybody. It's so much better than going to the store and just, what do I get this person? What do I get this person? You have a list right there. It just tells you what they want and you can pick it. You don't have to buy it from Amazon necessarily, but it gives you what you're looking for. Witch Doctor says rain and tornadoes and natural disasters in Las Vegas are like Santa Claus, something you hear about but never really see. Yeah, I can imagine. Natural disasters. So don't you guys get earthquakes? That's a natural disaster, I guess. But yeah, we get tornadoes. I mean, we're right in the middle of Tornado Alley, so very, very familiar with tornadoes. Augustine Forrester says, Chris, I wanted to know if you breed a doe to a buck, and after she urinates, is that a successful mate? Yeah, it should be fine. That's nothing to worry about. It's pretty common for them to do that after they breed. It doesn't negate it. There's nothing to worry about. G. Michael Jr. says The Mist was a great book and decent movie. Yeah, I think I saw the movie. I don't remember for sure. Saw parts of it anyway, but yeah, the book was really good. It's a short story too. It doesn't take that long to read. Whiskey Tango Farm says, yeah, yesterday was super weird. I got up to 60, extremely thick fog, up to 70-mile-an-hour winds, torrential rainfall, and thunder. We have a thunder snow, but never a thunderstorm like that in December. Yeah, it's rare for us to get thunderstorms in December. I did see, we're at my house, there wasn't really a storm. It was just pretty heavy rain for a little while. But I did see on the drive home, I could see lightning off to the north. I can't see all the way to Wisconsin, so it wasn't the same storm probably. But it wasn't far from us. I mean, there was some storms that passed just to the north of us, and I don't know how bad they were. Jay Moore says pretty new and have 30-ish, but I need to remove a few roosters to the one who asked. Okay, not responding to me, responding to somebody else probably. Whiskey Tango Farm says, now today it's a low of 14. Hope we don't lose any animals for the huge shift in temperature. Yeah, that's a pretty drastic change. Yeah, we had a cold front come through too. We were at 70 yesterday and we were like 50-ish today, 50 degrees, something like that, which is not that cold. But still it's a 20 degree drop. Grafted Branch says, hey, good tip on the rabbits. I'll move on it then. Yeah, no problem. Good luck. Hopefully you find some good ones. Battleborn Urban Farm question: do rabbits like Rex do okay in the desert heat? The heat in Las Vegas summers can get up into 120, but the average is like 110. Yeah, that's I can't really answer that completely because I don't have personal experience with a standard Rex or even mini Rex for that matter. Rabbits do tend to struggle in the heat. There is a breed, Tamuk rabbits, which is a New Zealand white. They were bred for heat tolerance, so they can probably handle it a little bit better. What I would suggest is look for rabbit breeders in your area. Chances are, whatever breed of rabbit they're breeding right now is going to be fairly heat tolerant because it's developed in that area. It's been bred in that area, so it's going to be acclimated to that climate and going to be a pretty good choice for me. I wouldn't suggest going to you don't want to go to Colorado and buy rabbits and then bring them back to Arizona or Las Vegas. That's where it was, wasn't it? The other things, you live in the desert basically, so swamp coolers can do a pretty good job of help keeping them cool. You may have to do some of those kinds of things, misters, that kind of stuff. You don't want to mist the rabbits, you just want to mist their hutch, and that can do a pretty good job of keeping the temperatures down a little bit along with some fans and things like that. Of course, you probably already know all this. You live in the desert. That's probably not uncommon for you to try to keep things cool. Keep them in the shade, and they'll probably do okay. Tandex says, if I have 15 roosters and 10 hens, how many roosters should I keep? I think I already answered that one. Grafted Branch says, any alternative quail foods if in a pinch? I don't have a good answer for that one. I get asked that one pretty frequently, and I have not been able to find a good answer. Quail are omnivores. They eat bugs and insects and grains and plant matter and all. They eat all that kind of stuff in the wild. So that's kind of what you're going to want to look for them. I don't know that I have an answer for that. I've been looking for an answer, and if I ever find one, I'll do a video and make sure I share it. But at this point, I don't know. I don't know what I'd do if there was no quail food available. Yeah, Verna says only need one rooster per 5 hens if you're talking about quail. Yeah, I think he was. And, like you said, 12 gauge is bringing it up again, too. Yeah, one extra maybe is not a bad idea, especially if you've got a pretty high number, 12 birds or 10 birds or something like that. Grafter Branch says, the quail barn hold up okay, asking Whiskey Tango Farms. And it looks like it did. That is good to hear. I'm going to skip a couple of these. Let you guys talk to each other. Grafted Branch says the weather's really making me urgent to jump on the project. I don't know what project. That's you guys talking to each other. I'll let you. Robert, what can I do about the nest box getting moved around? I lost a few bunnies from getting squished up against the cage. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry to hear that. You can wire it to the cage if you want to. And what I would suggest is wiring it to the side of the cage, so you don't have to worry about bunnies getting in behind it necessarily. I don't do that. I just let my doe move it around, but I've never had any real issues with losing any babies getting in between the wall of the cage and getting squished by the nest box itself. Maybe that was just a one-time thing, but yeah, that would be my only suggestion. Would be wire it to the side of the cage or to the floor of the cage or something so it can't be moved. Jay Moore says, I probably wouldn't get eggs shipped around Christmas. Yeah, that's probably a good bet. We were talking about this, I think, on last week's live. My eggs are actually going into lockdown this weekend. I don't have real high hopes, though, because it took more than a week for them to get here. Now, that was a gift from Ed Got Bait, actually, is the one that donated eggs to me, and Whiskey Tango Farms threw in some extra eggs. So in their Whiskey Tango Farms eggs. So we're trying to incubate them anyway, but they took over a week in the mail to get here, and that was 2 weeks ago. So probably not the best time. You want to wait till the holiday rush is over and then go ahead and order, probably. No reason you can't go ahead and order and prepay and let them know that you don't want them shipped until after that. But yeah, it may not be a good time to try to ship eggs. I don't know. Heather says, I have a couple of rabbits who act like they're super bored. Giving them hay seems to stop them from messing with their feeders. Yeah, that's a good idea. Some rabbits are going to be a little bit more prone to that kind of stuff than other rabbits are. And if you can give them some kind of toys, chew toys, What I usually do is I throw a piece of a 2x4, untreated 2x4, or any kind of lumber, and throw it in there and give them something to chew on. And they seem to do pretty good with that. But that's a good suggestion too. Giving them hay, that'll keep them interested anyway. Give them something to do. Vernon wants to know why I don't process my retired rabbits. Really, for a couple of reasons. The biggest one being it just doesn't feel right. My rabbits they've been breeding, giving me baby rabbits for a long time. It just doesn't feel right to just process them because they're done breeding. So I don't know. We'll see. Whiskey Tango Farm says our cream, I can't ever pronounce that. Cream d'Argent, I think it is, doe, about 3.5 years old, had 3 babies. One died Sunday, and thought we were going to be able to save the other 2, but they also passed. Really bummed. Also lost all 8 mini Rex babies. Man, I'm sorry to hear that. That sucks. 3 years old, 3.5 is not that old. So hopefully it's just a failed litter and you're going to have better luck the next time. I wouldn't give up on her just yet. But man, I'm sorry to hear all that. That sucks. Chad wants to know, what does it mean when my female rabbit tries to hump my leg? She even tried to bite for a better hold. Luckily, just got my sock. Sounds like a sign of dominance, like she's trying to claim that space. Does get pretty territorial, and they can display those kinds of behaviors when they're trying to claim a territory, claim a space or something like that. The other thing would be make sure it's a female and not a buck. But yeah, I don't know. That's strange behavior for sure. Whiskey Tango Farm says, not sure if maybe Wisconsin is just too harsh for kindling or we have terrible luck. Going to try again, but I'm pretty defeated over here as of late. Yeah, I don't blame you. Sometimes things like that happen for no reason whatsoever, but as long as you got a good wind block on them, they should be fine. I mean, I breed rabbits and have had babies born at 0 degrees Fahrenheit and never had any problems with them, really. As long as they're born in the nest box, never had any problems with them. If it's a continuing issue, like you keep having lost litters with them, then I would look at replacing them. But who knows? Any number of things can cause just one time something to go wrong. Jay Moore says, I like to get my eggs from closer states because of shipping times. I don't see overnight shipping anymore like for live chicks. Yeah, that's probably not a bad option, but, I've had them shipped. Well, Wisconsin's a ways from me, and this will be the second batch of Whiskey Tango Farms eggs I've had shipped. The first ones came, they were like 2 days. It didn't take long at all, and got a great hatch rate out of them. So it's not, I don't know that that's a big issue, and except for like now during Christmas time when you can't get anything shipped super fast. Battleborn Urban Farm question: how old are the rabbits when you retire them? I don't necessarily go by age. It's just whenever I start having failed litters. If I have multiple failed litters in a row with older rabbits, and when I say older rabbits, does usually around 5 years old, 4 to 5 years old, somewhere right around in there. But it's not a hard, fast rule. And then bucks, usually 6 years old, something like that, is about the time. G. Michael says, quail versus rabbit, which is more efficient? Sounds like a great idea. Video project, Chris. Yeah, I should make a note of that somewhere. Let me make a note. Let's see. Yeah, let me make a note. Quail versus rabbit. I think I did a video on quail versus rabbit one time, but it wasn't. No, I think it was quail or I don't remember. Quail or chickens or rabbits or versus chickens. I don't remember now. But yeah, that's a good idea. I'll see what I can do to come up with a video and study that a little bit more so I can give a little bit more better informed answer. Yeah, Whiskey Tango Farms has got a good question. He says, did you hold this is to Chad. He says, I'm not sure, but thanks for the visual. Laughing. Says, did you hold a buck before you went nearer? That's a good point. Maybe that's it. Could be. Who knows? Linda says, hey, Chris, hope you and the family are well. Thank you. We are. I appreciate that. Let's see. Cameron says, my kids are wanting to start raising some Coturnix quail. Do you have a recommendation on where to order eggs from? Yeah, you've got several places you can order eggs from. What I might suggest is that if you're not familiar with hatching eggs, that you may want to start with some actual live birds. Just get a couple of live birds, get a handle on them first. On the other hand, If you're looking at hatching eggs, you are going to get better quality birds in that way most of the time. If you want some good recommendations, Whiskey Tango Farms is a great supplier. They're in the live chat here, and also My Shire Farm. Those are the two I would probably recommend most of the time. You're going to get great quality from either one of them. And they've got both of them have multiple colors, different colors, birds, whatever you're looking for, you're probably going to be able to get. And then look, there's 12 gauge is saying that they sell Amazon eggs on Amazon. So there's another option as well. Jesse Olson says, have you ever taken a break with having rabbits? If so, did you regret it? Well, not a huge break. I mean, like I'm taking a break right now with having rabbit. I mean, I've still got them, but I'm going to be getting rid of them pretty quick. But it's only going to be probably, I mean, who knows? It may be a couple of weeks, it may be a month, it may be 2 months before I get new rabbits. I don't know. I don't know that I would say, I regret doing that. I mean, yeah, ideally I would like to probably have replacements in before I got rid of the rabbits, before they, quit, before they aged out of breeding. But I don't know that there's any regrets from it. If I gave them up for a long time, I'd probably regret it and really want to get them back. But I haven't done that, so I can't speak to that. Where are we at here? 5 minutes left. 12 gauge says, Chris said it was okay for me to say that on here. Yeah, it's fine. I don't care. If you guys sell something, you've got, another YouTube channel, I don't care. You guys can that's fine with me. If you want to talk about like what you sell, what your YouTube channel is, or some other person that their YouTube channel. I mean, as long as it's fairly related, to kind of the topics we're talking about. Don't just come in here and talk about, you sell, I don't even know, maybe you sell burritos or something. I mean, that's not really relevant to what we're talking about. But yeah, you want to share other YouTube videos, other YouTube channels. You want to share your own YouTube channel, your Amazon shop that you sell eggs through or whatever. I don't care. You can share all that stuff. It's fine with me. Jennifer says, when I get others asking about quail, I ask them to watch your channel. You are great for thinking about quail. Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jennifer. I appreciate that. Emergency Prep Guy says, raising quail for meat is definitely more predictable than rabbits. You can hatch however many you want. Both are very cost effective. Yeah, I'd agree with you on that. It's hard to answer. I'm going to have to put some thought into that one. All right. Jay Moore says, Glasgow sounds familiar, but for different stuff. So that's the Amazon shop where he sells eggs. Applied Knowledge says, hello, Custer, South Dakota area here. I don't know where that is, but thanks for joining. Says, I just bought a breeding pair of beautiful Castor Rex, purebred and registered. Never had quail. I've ate plenty of rabbit. I like rabbit meat. Well, I do too, but some people have different tastes, so not everybody does. Whiskey Tango Farm says, Chad sounds like she needs a husband. Yeah, probably right on that. Let's see. Jay Moore, hard to remember who I ordered from. I'm all over the place with seeds. Yeah, I don't know. Is that oh, you're thinking maybe you ordered seeds from Glasgow's? Oh, yeah, that could be possible too. I don't know. Verna says, I do three birds per square foot. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. You can do 3 per square foot. That's fine. I like to try, I kind of keep it between 1 to 2, usually per square foot. But there's nothing wrong with doing 3 if you want to. Grafted Branch says he has 66 quail right now, calling 24 next week. Awesome. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Whiskey Tango Farm says to Grafted Home says, is that freezer camp? He says, yep. And he says, probably my belly camp, though. LOL. Verna says, I have 43 birds right now. I got 30 in the incubator. Starting another incubator tomorrow, setting jumbo wilds on Saturday. Yeah, that's pretty busy then. Good luck. I hope you have some great hatches there. Applied Knowledge says, coop size, I'd say on number of birds. I think what you're saying is, it depends on how big your coop is to how many birds you should get. I kind of agree with that. Katrina says, I measured my weight to compare chicken to quail whites and yolks for my jumbo wild eggs. It's 4 whites and 3 yolks per large chicken egg, white and yolk. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. About 4 usually. You're right. It's probably closer to 4. And that's usually probably what I consider 4 quail eggs to 1 chicken egg. I don't go as specific as weighing them out and all that, but that sounds about right. Oh, excuse me. Oh, sorry. I'm not yawning at you guys. I was up too late last night. Got to catch up on some sleep tonight. Augustine says, thanks, Chris. You're absolutely welcome. Jake Riley, love your work, sir. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Sorry, I'm letting you guys talk with each other. I'm skipping all those. Jay Moore says, I'm not hatching anymore till the hens slow down and incubate my own. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And Grafted Branch wants to start a community fund for Verna's farm. That's probably a good cause. We should all get behind that, huh? Yeah, Verna says she gets at least 3 dozen a day in eggs. That's a lot of eggs. I don't know how you keep up with it. And Stage Wolf says ramp up quickly after you get a feel for them. Yeah, I think that's probably how I would suggest too. Jay Moore says, but with hatching eggs, get more than 10 eggs. Yeah, that's probably a good suggestion. You really want to do a pretty good investment if you're ordering hatching eggs. You don't want to do like 10 eggs. You want to probably do, I would say, a minimum of like 30 or 50, something like that. Because you may not get, in fact, you're probably not going to get, a 95% hatch rate or something like that. You're probably going to get like 70% hatch rate. You may get better, but it's better to have a few more than it is to have too little. Yeah, Verna kind of agrees. She says if you're going to start with eggs, start with 30 eggs. That's probably a good suggestion. Verna says, Chris, mealworms and sprouts. That's for, I think you're talking about feeding quail if you can't get quail food. Yeah, I think that's probably a good short-term solution. I don't know that that's a good long-term solution. I think there's probably more to it than that, but I may be wrong. I don't know. How are we doing on time? Oh my gosh, it's about time here. Let me scan through here and see if there's any other big questions. Battleborn Urban Farm, we order super mealworms out of California for our quail and chickens. That's a good thing to do. I'm just scanning through to see if there's any big major questions that I missed. Oh my gosh, there's a whole lot that I missed. I can't get to it all. So I'm going to have to end it right here. Hopefully next week I'll be able to get in on time. I won't have any kind of technical issues. If I did not get to your comment tonight, I apologize for that. Like I said, if you guys have questions or comments or whatever on any of the videos, leave it in the comments. Although I have not been good about getting into the comments section and answering those, I do see them. And a lot of times I'll go ahead and make a video to address those comments as they come in or those questions as they come in. So if there's a video topic you want to see addressed or something like that, you can always leave it in the comments section on any of the videos. I do get those emailed to me and I do see them. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up here. Let's see, we got a Chiefs game on. If anybody's, it won't matter. I won't read the comments, so you can tell me what the score is if you want. It should be about an hour into it, and it's a pretty important game tonight, so I'm going to go watch probably at least part of that with my wife before it's time for me to go to bed, because I don't know how long I'll be able to stay up tonight. I may go to sleep here in the next half hour or so unintentionally. We'll find out. But anyway, thanks for joining me tonight, guys. I appreciate it. Again, I'm sorry if I didn't get to your comment here. We'll be back on next Thursday, I think. At this point, I don't have anything planned for next Thursday. I think we're good to go. Also, next Tuesday, I should be on Katernik's Corner with Terry during his live broadcast, so you guys can join us there as well. And other than that, we will see you guys all next week. Thank you for joining tonight. As always, God bless, and good night.